How are we doing? Tim, can you hear me?
Yep.
Nick? 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 I can hear myself. Hang on, what's going on? Hi, listeners. We are here. 5 minutes to go. I don't know what Nick's doing. He's staring down at his phone. Try and start on time this time, listeners. 3 minutes to go. We are here. Nick's here. Hello, Nick. Nick. Tim's here. Hello, Tim.
I'm here, but I'm just a minute. I've got to change some of my settings. Just speak, John.
Hello.
No, for some reason. What's going on? I'm hearing. It's not a major problem. I'm just hearing my sound through my computer rather than my earphones. Which is fucking pointless.
The stream is live, Tim.
Oops. Oops.
They can all hear us. We've got a caller. Yeah.
Probably not plugged in. I've got all Sam's gear at the moment, so I'll blame him.
Yes, Bisons. I did warn them.
All right. Okay. So you're
right. I'm going to put this countdown banner on. Here we go. Saturday, the 17th of October, 2020, in this 606 match reaction special. Tim, Nick, and myself, and hopefully a few guests, review Crewe Alexandra 1, Blackpool 1, as has just transpired at Gresty Road. A 1-1 draw, a decent point, and Blackpool back on the points tally, which is good. I'm John Aspinall, this is the Seasiders podcast, 606 special, Crewe 1, Blackpool 1. Good evening, all you Seasiders out there. Welcome back to the Seasiders podcast 606 special. Hello to everyone on the stream. Welcome. We do have a member, a new caller, Tangerine Steve. Hi, Steve. Just do bear with us. We will bring you in very shortly. Hello to everyone on the podcast recording, and welcome to the 606 show. So, Tim, Nick, a 1-1 draw, stop the rot.
Yes, it did. It wasn't a bad performance. It was certainly an improvement on what we've had in the last few games. It was just the final third for me. We didn't have that cutting edge. I thought we looked a bit more solid. I think in the midfield we offered a bit more protection to the defence. It was just up front we were a bit toothless. You know, that final ball and set pieces again. But I didn't think we deserved to lose. Certainly deserved a point for me.
Tim?
Sorry, I was waiting to be introduced.
Everyone, we all know who you are. What's your name? Who are you?
No, I mean, I thought I was expecting you to go on to me. Yeah, I mean, I found the game a bit difficult to watch today, to be honest.
Is that because of technical limitations
with the broadcast, and so I was a little bit probably more distracted than I normally would be. I mean, I think from my my substitute appearance in the preview show last night that I didn't have particularly high expectations today, and my assessment as to how I thought it would go didn't change when I saw the starting lineup.
Shall we bring that up then? You keep talking. Yeah. I'll just get it on the screen.
So I was a little bit disappointed, if I'm being honest with that. But perhaps, to be fair, when we were speaking last night, I think I did sort of almost call it by saying that I thought at most one of the new signings would start. I just didn't expect it to be none.
Let's just go through the starting lineup then. Chris Maxwell, Ollie Turton, Marvin Ekpateta, James Husband, Luke Garbett, MJ Williams, Ethan Robson, Grant Ward, CJ Hamilton, Gary Maydeen starting, and Jerry Yates. On the bench, Sims, Gabriel, Sarkic, Mitchell, Kemp, Ballard, and Lubala. And if you look at the comments, look over to Mark Tunis, he's over just slightly to the right. Fecking Williams, question mark. And I must admit, Mark, that's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
I didn't mind, actually, only because I think the thing is with Williams, there's no point in bringing him on with an hour gone, half an hour to go, and expecting to change a game. I think if you're gonna do anything with him, and let's be honest, I think once, I can't remember the name of the lad from Barnsley who we've signed, Duggan, is it? I'd expect him to probably take his place, but I think what he did do was offer a bit of protection, which we've been missing, in the midfield. And he's not going to get a game by the scruff of the neck, but he got it. He gave it simple. He broke up play, and I think we did need a bit of that. That was probably one of the things that was missing in the last couple of games for me. So I thought he did okay. There was odd times where he gave possession away, but he didn't do too badly, I didn't think.
So, Tim, just coming back to you then, what was your thoughts on the starting lineup?
Well, the unusual omission was obviously Keshi Anderson, wasn't it? I'm presuming, and I think it was, if he was, it was kept very quiet that he was injured and unavailable for whatever reason. So Yeah, I must admit, when I saw Williams in the starting lineup, it was disappointing. I was surprised as well that we didn't end up with one of the new two centre backs playing.
It was odd. We've got Husband back in there, obviously not playing.
Yeah, and I've always felt that Husband is going to be in the team. When we're not harking back too much to last night, I was almost saying the players we've got at the moment suits the system we played last year to me more than it suits this system, and that's really because you're trying to accommodate your best players in the lineup. But so that was my. I wasn't surprised. I was expecting the three up front to remain as was. I felt that at the moment that's possibly making the best use of what players we've got. So I think it was just the Keshi Anderson missing, and maybe the fact that we didn't have one of the two new. Obviously, one was on the bench, wasn't he? I don't know.
I mean, I can only assume
is he in hibernation? I don't know. Is he injured? I don't know. I mean,
well, who's this, Tim? Who are you referring to?
Our Viking centre half.
Oh, right. Was he on the bench then?
No,
Ballard was. There's been nothing mentioned about him being injured, is there? So unless they're just still getting him up,
maybe it's just a case of he's not
full fitness
or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. And obviously Ballard played the other night for Northern Ireland, didn't he? He played 90 minutes, and he looked very good, to be fair.
Yeah, he did.
He's going to be fit, isn't he? Because obviously he's played. So
why not just stick him in?
Well, I mean, again, maybe it's a little bit of an evolution thing in that Critchley's, sort of feels he's got to stick by certain players and wants to stick by certain players. I think, I've previously said I think Grant Ward probably is one who's going to end up losing out, but as we're going on to talk about, he notched today, so.
That's Bison's view.
It's obviously Bison's saying is Gretchen not fit, another bad signing. The short answer is we just don't know, do we? We don't know because there's been no feedback. There's been nothing to suggest he's injured or anything. So, and the Norwegian league, as I understand it, we're playing. But at what level is that Norwegian league? I mean, I can imagine it's equivalent to some form of non-league here. I would have thought, but.
We did have a guest, Stephen Waterhouse. Sound on the spot is rubbish. Couldn't hear anything. Don't know what you're referring to there, Stephen. But do come back if you want to come back in. We're just about to bring you in then. So technical problems perhaps, but we can hear everything fine. So try again if you do want to call. So everybody, if you want to call into the show, have your say, go to www.spod.live and this will redirect you into the studio and you can have your say. Do join the call. You can hide your video if you don't want to show your face, and just get your calls in. It'll be good to hear your views on the game itself. Right, let's go to the game. First off, Nick, we started very brightly in that first period and it all looked good.
It did. It's a theme, isn't it? We do start games well, kind of first 10 or 15 minutes, and then you usually end up conceding a goal, which we didn't do today. I thought, first half we were definitely the better team. Crewe couldn't really get out of their own half much, certainly couldn't create any chances. But again, we just didn't have that cutting edge. There's a lot of, I don't know what the possession was for the first 45 minutes, but it has certainly been in our favour. But we didn't really test their keeper much. I think Jerry Yates had a good shot, didn't he? Which was probably heading in, but
that's the first chance. Let's try and get it chronologically
off a Crewe player. Good possession. We knocked it about, but a bit toothless up front. Nothing to show for the possession, which that again, that's a recurring theme, isn't it? We knock it about a bit, but can't seem to put the ball in the net, and it's a worry, obviously, because transfer window's done now. So we've got to stick with what we've got and hope that they start firing.
I mean, Nick mentioned there we're not scoring, but Tim, we didn't really create that many clear-cut chances in that first period, despite all our extensive pressure. I've just put up on the screen there, Hamilton threw on goal, but he had a very heavy touch and the Crewe defender cleared up. So that was kind of our main chance that got away.
I think it has been a feature of the season, hasn't it? A lot of games, not saying I've not got the stats for all of them, but a lot of the games we've had the lion's share of the possession without necessarily testing the keeper to the degree you'd expect. And as I think Gillingham was a shining example of that, wasn't it? Where I think we had something like 65% possession to their 35, and yet our shot ratio compared with theirs was very poor. And it's about penetration as well as possession, isn't it? And sometimes it's about how quickly you get the ball from the edge of your box to the edge of the opposition's box, not via 15 passes, which obviously means that they've got everybody behind the ball and are ready for whatever you're going to throw at them. So, I said there was a lot of buffering at my end in the first half, and I got a little bit frustrated. So I actually saw more of the second. But what I did see was us playing reasonably pretty football. I think points been made on one of the messages, and I think it's a valid one, that with Williams in there, that probably gave Ethan Robson a little bit more of a license to push forward, where he's normally the anchor man. And obviously with Dougal having signed yesterday, maybe he's that person who's going to occupy that role in coming weeks and months. So I think both those yesterday probably. I mean, I heard a rumor that the paperwork was at EFL before 12, but if you don't sign them, Sam was saying that there's a 12 o'clock cutoff. So if you don't sign them before 12, clearly you can't process the paperwork. So I'm guessing that both actually only put pen to paper after the witching hour, and as a result, just were never ever going to be considered today.
Did you see the chance at all from CJ Hamilton, Tim?
No, I missed it. I think it must have been doing that little thing that goes whirring round, doing that for me at the time. Did
you see that at all, Nick? CJ?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, eventually, because iFollow wasn't working on the Chromebook, doesn't seem to like that browser, so I ended up having to watch on my phone.
iFollow problems again from all of us.
Yeah, and it was if he'd have controlled it, he's got the pace to get through on goal, and who knows what would have happened. But he just
he had a funny game, didn't he, Hamilton? He was it just didn't seem to fall for him today, and nothing he was trying came off.
And again, I think teams are working out that he's our danger man, and they're on to him straight away. They've obviously seen what he's done earlier in the season, and they'll have watched our games, so they'll know he's, a lot goes through him for us. So again, another reason why we need to be having a bit of a plan B in games.
Anything else about the first half, Nick?
Jerry Yates had that.
Let's bring that up.
Floored their player. I don't know that was. Do you think
it was goal bound?
Hard to tell. He certainly connected well with it. It's just the way it is at the moment. I think when you're down the bottom and you're not scoring, that's what happens. When you're up there and you're banging them in, then that flies in the back of the net, doesn't it? It's not happening for him at the moment.
So Tim, I'm just going to bring up another graphic here, which I've titled "Dead Ball Delivery Terrible." Nick, I know you're agreeing with that because it's something we have discussed in previous shows, and it reared its head again. Absolutely terrible dead ball delivery from set pieces again. Just not beating the near man. There was one from Robson. He just floated it out in, and it just went off for a goal kick. I mean, Garbutt going off probably didn't help there, but it's a problem in this team. And why can't we solve this on the training ground?
Yeah, well, for professional footballers, it should be a given, shouldn't it? Corners and free kicks, you should have someone in the team who can deliver a decent ball in. Again, it's been a feature of the season, hasn't it? Every week, and particularly when you're not scoring much from open play, then you probably need that more than ever. And we just don't seem to have it. It's certainly frustrating when corners, you're not beating the first man, and free kicks where you've got a good chance. Maybe your centre half's getting forward, and it's just wasted delivery every time. It's poor.
Tim?
Yeah, I mean, at schoolboy level, if you've got somebody who's taking corners and doesn't consistently doesn't beat the first man, then they don't take corners anymore. And it's very disappointing when you see a ball come in, be it from a free kick or be it from a corner, that doesn't get anywhere near where it's meant to be, which is in the danger area. And I think we need to look at that very carefully, because it's just what it's meant to be an advantage, isn't it? You get a corner or a free kick anywhere in the last third, and it's meant to be an advantage. And if you're basically going to give it away as soon as you play the ball, then it ceases to be that advantage. So, there should be enough decent players in that side to find 2 or 3 who can, depending whether it's on left or right or whatever position it is on the pitch, who can actually get it into that danger zone. Because it isn't rocket science, is it? It's basics.
Well, this show is a lot more tempered than last week, isn't it? Well, this is very measured, isn't it? It's very calm. It's the mirror opposite to last week.
I think it's because we've not just got beat mainly, and I think there's certainly an improved performance for me. And if you look at the players who we've signed in the last day or so, and the 2 centre halves, I think they're in the team at centre half, and you've got Woodburn and the other lad from Barnsley is the defensive midfielder. Then hopefully we should start to see some more improved performance. It was a step in the right direction for me today, I thought, on the performance, just without creating too much up front. I think there's something to build on there. And we were all saying last week, weren't we? When you're conceding goals, you've got to almost take a step back to go forward, and there's small steps from there, isn't it? And I think we've made that first small step today, I think.
I've been pulled by Bisons, by the way, who when I refer to our new defensive centre mid as Dougal, apparently it's Dougal. Thank you, Bisons.
He was meant to be coming on this week.
He might have played for Sparta Rotterdam. He's Dutch. But so it's Dougal.
I think you mentioned his haircut on the Friday night preview last night, didn't you, Tim?
Yeah.
What is that all about?
He's trying to emulate Perkins, isn't he?
What, Boris Johnson,
I think.
Yeah, it's not a good look, that, is it? That's not a look you want to be emulating.
I think the Dougal thing is a little bit like Hyacinth Bucket or Bouquet, isn't it?
Didn't on Only Fools and Horses, didn't Del Boy call himself Derek Duval once? I'm sure he did.
Something like that.
Right, on to the second half then. Go on.
We're not as frustrated this week as last week. I mean, firstly, we got a draw. We didn't get comprehensively beaten. But secondly, we can see that the club have tried to do something to deal with the areas of issue. So, whilst we've still got these defensive frailties, and whilst we've still got a lack of penetration from midfield to sort of drive the ball where we need it to be, we can probably see that something is being done about that. But we're going to have to wait another week to see it, and that's not in itself too surprising. And probably the frustration, and I suspect it relates to our inability to move Medine on, if that's what we were looking to do, is that we haven't done anything about addressing our lack of goal scoring, because it is increasingly worrying that the forward line, CJ Hamilton being the honourable exception, doesn't really, and I suppose Medine has had one as well, hasn't he? Doesn't really seem to be capable of hitting the back of the net with the frequency that we're going to need them to if we're going to turn this around.
So Medine started, Nick, and I thought he made a difference. He was a presence up front. He was a bit sloppy in possession at times, but I think his presence there made a difference. The ball kind of stuck up there a bit more.
Yeah, it does. I think Brett Orm, I was listening to the first half. It was the Radio Lancs commentary, and Brett Orm made a good point and said he needs somebody near him, though. He's very much about holding the ball up and linking the play up, and I don't think there was anybody quite near enough for him to do that at times. And the other thing was he didn't get a lot from the ref. I mean, he likes a bit of a moan, but there was a few occasions where he was being fouled. and you could see him getting more and more frustrated. But the ref was having none of it. So he does give us a presence, but I don't know. A lot of time it's kind of back to goal, isn't it? And like Tim said, we're not seeing that penetration, that through ball for Yates to run onto, or a flick off. You think how well like Murphy and Ormrod used to link up together. You were kind of hoping there might be something a bit similar with Yates and Medine. And it's early days, to be fair, but yeah, not quite happening yet. But he does give us some presence up front anyway.
So, listeners, do keep your comments coming in. I'm just looking at the comments now. Phil's appeared. You're not calling in, Phil. Come on. You want to.
It's positive at the moment. I can't get used to it.
So you both talked at the same time. Say that again.
Bison's was meant to call in this week, wasn't he? He said he would.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's on the chat.
Yeah. So, listeners, do keep your comments coming in. If you do want to join the call, spod.live, just enter that into any web browser and that'll take you into the studio and we'll bring you on. We'll just address a few comments that have come in from Phil. Better midfield. Better today, midfield, more solid. I follow is still wank, though. I think that's a given. Sounds like everyone's having problems with it. About the match, Phil said, Williams and Turton, the recent scapegoats. Man of the matches today for me. More positives today. Come on, men, cheer me up. And finally, Phil says Keir Starmer. Come on, Timmy Two Scarves. I think that was in reference to the previous Boris comment. So, yeah, that's It's not a bad doppelganger to have, Tim, is it? Keir Starmer, a man of integrity.
I've had worse.
I think it's a good point Phil makes though about Williams and Turton. I thought, like he says, certainly Turton comes in for a lot of stick, and I will come on to the goal, which he was involved in. But I thought he did okay today. I thought Williams did okay as well, to be fair.
Bison said PS didn't watch the game, so he's not calling in. So next week, Bison's next week.
Fair enough.
Right, on to the second half. Crewe came out the traps in the second half, and they got a goal pretty quick after 9 minutes. A goal from Mandron on 54 minutes. I've put there on the graphic 2 defensive errors. I was raging at this. The first one from in the build was ex-Pateta. He just dived in, committed himself, and gave the Crewe player a free run. We were really exposed. Ball came in from the left, and a free header, Nick. Sorry, not a free header. It was a tidy finish. It looked like he was going to head it in, but he just side-footed it into the roof of the net.
Yeah, it was poor. I think that was that their first chance?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I thought till then we'd looked, again, we weren't doing a lot up front, but I think we'd looked comfortable defensively. Yeah, it was quite a quick ball through on, and he flicked it out onto the wing, and we were just playing catch up, weren't we? A lot of space, and he's tapped it home. It was, poor defending, and like I say, up until then, we hadn't looked like conceding, and they hadn't done a lot, but I think a lot of that was down to the way we were playing. I think we were stopping them creating chances. So yeah, doubly disappointed at that point.
Yeah, we got a little bit of in our house, we got a little bit of an advance notice that somebody had scored because our iFollow was so far behind the actual game, but we didn't know who, so we deliberately didn't. And we'd actually had quite a good period of possession just in the immediate build up to that goal. And I thought, it's going to be us who scores because we're all the games up that end, and then all of a sudden it breaks down that left fairly quickly, doesn't it? And it was just a litany of errors again, wasn't it? Which we've got chances to stop it, and when John's alluded to, like Pateta dives in, and then the ball comes across, and their guy's first to it, and slots it home. So it's a soft. In some respects, it's a soft goal. It's also disappointing because they've just broken away, and when we've arguably been on top and should have been looking to take the lead.
Yeah. It was a bit of a body blow, to say the least, to concede a goal. As Nick said, against the run of play, we didn't really deserve to be one down, but I really couldn't see us getting back into the game, Nick, after that. And Williams dragged a very good chance wide. I don't know if you recall. Bring that up with the graphic up as well. Fell nicely for him, didn't it? And you'd expect him to at least hit the target, as someone's brother says.
Yeah, it was a decent enough chance. He's probably not the best person you want it to fall to, but even so, could have hit the target. And I worried as well when we went 1-0 down that, again, we've had all this possession and were we going to have the fight to get back into the game, or was it going to be heads down? And that's that, because it wasn't coming, the goal. I think in previous games you've seen it, and when you're thinking, John, we've watched the games and we've spent 90 minutes swearing at the telly, haven't we? And there wasn't any of that today. It wasn't like there was pressure building from Crewe. It just it came out of nothing. So like Tim says, then it's really disappointing when that happens. But to be fair, we did show a bit of fight and managed to get ourselves back into it.
And we did, Tim, and it came on 71 minutes from an unexpected source, I think, in Ward. 71 minutes, the equaliser came. Good work from Turton down the right-hand side. Referee played a good advantage, ball into the box. Just kindly landed kindly for him, I think, and a tidy little finish.
Yeah,
bit of luck anyway. Bit of luck to it, perhaps, the way it's just dropped for him.
Well, I mean, listen, we've had enough bad luck this season. If we get Tiddy with a bit of luck in the way that it lands and sits up for him right, then great. I was still busy chuckling, to be honest, when he scored over the goal mouth scramble that preceded it, which seemed to go on forever and ever and ever. Almost remind me that was it a game when we played, I can't remember, City or
City in the
Tottenham
cup
now, where there was a massive goal line.
It
seemed to be in and around their box, and we couldn't get it out of our feet. And you're thinking it's just not going to be our day today. And it's nice to see, somebody in the midfield pop up with a goal, and it's been much needed. I think I think we've missed Virtue for that, where Virtue would always pop up with goals. And last year we had Dewsbury Hall doing the same, didn't we? And we're going to need more of it, because.
We've got some quality players to come in, though, haven't we? We've stopped the rot in this game, as Nick said. We've looked reasonably solid. We've got a point. The rot has been stopped. Crewe won 2 in the bounce, so I think we'd have all taken a point before the game. So onwards and upwards, really. We've got these decent players. We've got Woodburn to come in. We've got the new centre-half pair in this geezer from Barnsley, who we don't know who he's like. But yeah, it's a bit more positive, Nick, than last week.
Yeah, and just going back to the goal, the reason Ward scored, because I don't know if you were, obviously we have the WhatsApp group and we're all messaging during the game. And if you'd have looked at it on 71 minutes, you'd have seen Nick is typing, and Nick was typing time to sub Ward. And I got as far as time to sub, and he scored, and it was like delete. So that's why he scored. Yeah, and special mention to Turton as well, who I thought did really well for the goal. Put a good ball in, so it was deserved. It was deserved, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, let's have a look at the final game stats. There wasn't any scares particularly in the second half, but we did finish the game on top, I think. And Tim, these stats here nicely illustrate that. Blackpool with 57% of the possession. 15 shots to their 3. So a deserved point.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's just a little bit small on my screen, but the shots on target.
Get your readers on.
I know, get my bins on. Shots
Do you
on
want me
target.
to read it for you?
One really sort of probably sums the game up a little bit. It wasn't the most exciting game, was it? Because plenty of possession, but the goal mouth action was a little bit few and far between for me. Most certainly, you need to be getting, when we've had 15 shots and only 2 of those are on target, one of which we score. That's a little bit concerning. I think that's where the deficiency is at the moment, isn't it? I mean, it's incredible. I mean, they've only had 3 shots all game. So
they've had 1 on target, and it went in. One corner to our 6.
So you look at those stats. The 6 corners to 1. Is it? You shouldn't really be drawing that game, should you? If you're analysing it as a manager, you've got the possession, you've had the lion's share of the shots, you've had not enough shots on target, and that's what lets us down. We need, I don't know what the ratios are expected to be, but I would think, 1 in 3, 1 in 4, and all of a sudden, you're up to 4 or 5 shots on target, and you're hoping that you've got the winner in there, aren't you?
Definitely. Did my iFollow was dropping out from about 80 minutes. Did he make any subs in the end?
No,
I don't think he did actually.
No, I was surprised. And I thought,
let's have a look at the subs. Who could we have chucked on to grab a goal at the end? Looking at that, so we've got Gabriel Sarkic, Sims, Mitchell. Obviously, he came on. Kemp, Ballard, and Labala. Maybe you could stick Labala on for the last 10.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I don't think he wanted to change the front three, and that's probably right. I mean, the one I'm struggling with at the moment, because obviously he's come from a Premiership club and Premier League club, and when we have seen him, he's looked all right. Kemp just doesn't. He don't seem to fancy Kemp. He's almost like just making up the numbers on that subs bench. It seems to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kemp's one who you'd think maybe 20 minutes to go, chuck him on. Can he deliver a decent ball into the box, which we didn't really have all game too often. Even if he's not a starter, you'd like to think he could offer something for the subs bench, or we've wasted a loan if not. Which
this comes back to what we were talking about, wasn't it? Where we were, I put a thread up on AVFT actually on Thursday, Friday, sort of analysing last year's team and this year's team, and the big difference, it seems to me at the moment, this is before yesterday, was the quality of the loan signings that we were able to bring in. So in the second half, in January, we had 3 quality signings, players we would, well, at the moment at least, we're not in a position to buy. And yet we're bringing someone like Kemp in and he can't even get on the pitch. And so that is a waste for me. Either isn't good enough, in which case what we got him for, or he's not been given the opportunity. But I think it still comes back to the way the team's set up. Kemp can only really go on into one of those 3 forward positions. And I just don't think Critchley fancied changing it. I think perhaps he thought the best chance of us getting the win was sticking with what he had.
Maybe, yeah.
Right, just to close the game out, gents. Man of the match, Nick. Who was your man of the match for this game?
I'd probably say Turton. I thought he looked pretty solid defensively, and he did well for the goal. And I say he's coming for a lot of criticism so far this season. Some of it justified, but I thought he was pretty solid. And then I thought after that, Williams had a pretty good game as well, not far behind. So I'd probably say Turton shaded it for me.
Timothy?
No, I'm with Nick. I want to say that he takes some stick to Turton, doesn't he? But I think he was solid today, involved in the goal. So I think in what was a rather insipid display overall from the team, I think he probably came out with the most plaudits.
Interesting. Let's move on to the league table.
Who's yours, John? Come on, you don't get off that easily. Put us on the spot. And then quickly move on.
Oh, God. No one stood out, did they? No one stood out. I can't give it to Turton. I don't know. I'll give it to Turton as well, because I can't think of anyone. He put a decent cross in, didn't he? Kept it solid at the back. So, yeah. I think that's indicative of the fact it was a nothing performance, really. A workman-like performance. Let's just leave it at that. Right, let's just quickly, before we go, listeners, if you do whatever you say, spod.live, punch that URL in. We're not getting many bites this evening. This is a phone-in show. Do get your call in, have you say. If not, we're just going to go off air and that'll be that. So we're going to have a league table before we go. Let's just bring that in now. So Blackpool are now 20th in League One on 4 points after 6 games. Played 1, drawn 1, lost 6, goals for 6, goals against 11, goal difference -5, with the form reading of last 5 games: 1, lost, drawn, and we are out of the bottom 4, thankfully. We're in 20th place. And Nick, if you look at that table, it's almost like we predicted, apart from in 24th, Oxford United. Who'd have thought it?
I know. Another side that, have a lot of possession, similar to ourselves. They knock it about hundreds and hundreds of passes, but they don't seem to have the end product. I saw their stats against, they got the beat by last week, Gillingham, I think it was. And again, similar to us, they'd had something like 20 odd shots or something, and ended up getting beat. So obviously they've got beat at Peterborough today, and a lot of teams will go there and get beat. But yeah, maybe it's the pretty passing football isn't the way for League One, maybe. But it's early days, and I think going back to us, you look at that 20th place. Hopefully, this is the start of turning things round a bit. And what I would say is, as fans, and we've all had a rant, you do when you come on air straight after a defeat every week. But I think we've just got to, you can't say he hasn't been backed. Again, credit to Simon Sadler, the signings this week. I think what we're going to have to do as fans is just be patient now for these players to bed in when they come into the team. We're just going to have to remember that, you say when a new team comes together, don't you? They need time to gel. And obviously we're 5 or 6 games into the season, but we're going to have to give those players a chance to settle in, and particularly centre-half pair. And if they both start, it might take them a little while to get used to each other. So I think we just need to bear that in mind, and maybe not just expect instant results because we've gone out and signed good players.
I mean, Tim, if we're looking at the league table there, obviously we can see Oxford rooted to the bottom in 24th. They did start the previous season in a very similar manner. Obviously, that daylight robbery at Bloomfield Road last season when we beat them 2-1, how we won that game, God only knows. So we've started poorly. They've started poorly, but now, like Nick's just said, it is a marathon, not a sprint, and the rot has been stopped. And I think there's reasons to look forward and be positive with the new signings that we've got.
Yeah, I mean, they've also played one game less than everybody else until you start getting up to 15th or 16th. So I don't expect Oxford to be down there at Christmas, let's say. I think they'll be knocking on the doors of the playoffs by that stage, and I hope that we're there with them. I think you look at some of the other teams down there, and it's pretty much what you expected. Most certainly, I think Rochdale are going to struggle, and the other two, Burton and Northampton, who are down there, are going to struggle as well. So I'm not surprised with those. I think the other thing is when you're in your first 4, 5, 6 games as well, a lot depends on who you've played, and sometimes certain teams. So we know Oxford obviously have played Peterborough. Have they played? I can't remember what else they've played now. They've played somebody else who's quite near the top.
Sunderland. They played for Sunderland.
Yeah, so
a few of the top teams.
Tough games. We've had. Well, it depends whether you view Lincoln as a team who'll be thereabouts towards the end of the season. I don't think they will. We've obviously had Ipswich, but after that, the teams we've played have been pretty mediocre, haven't they? Which is the concern. We've not played the Peterboroughs, the Sunderlands. Obviously, we should have done with the latter. On the Portsmouths and people like that. So I think we'll go. I think we'll end up moving up the table. I think they'll end up moving up the table, and I'm glad. I think, and I got a bit of stick off Will Watt when I suggested Fleetwood will be. I think I said 14th or 15th, and
there they are in 14th.
Let's hope they stay there.
So, Nick, they're in 14th, Fleetwood. We're only 3 points behind them. So, one win at this stage of the season, it shoots you up the table, doesn't it?
It does. To be honest, I tend not to look at it first dozen games because it doesn't mean a lot, really, does it? There's always teams who, we think back to our promotion season from League One. I think we had a poor start, didn't we, and turned it round. So there's a long way to go yet.
There is. Right, listeners, as no one can be bothered phoning in, we're just going to close out now. Let's just address a few of the listeners' comments that have come in. Matt's just said he agreed with Phil. Turton, man of the match for me, did well for the goal and solid defensively. Jacko only just tuned in. How did Williams play? Have we addressed this? Nick, you've given your opinion. Tim, what did you think of Williams?
I thought he did a reasonable job. It wasn't a stellar performance, but what he did do, he did the basics okay, and it allowed Robson to play slightly further up the pitch.
I think
he did give the ball away a lot, though. I thought he was all right.
Yeah, well,
I don't think he's a start.
I think there's a lot of players out there who did okay today, but nobody excelled, did they? And that's why we struggled with the man of the match, and that's why Turton's got it. Turton did a little better. He did better than okay, didn't he? He was involved in the goal, and he did the basics of his job well. But if you start looking around the team as to who had us on the edge of did anybody have us on the edge of the seat at any point? Did anybody?
Potato when he's diving in.
There was nothing that was really thrilling or exciting about the game. It was a steady performance where hopefully it will be the turning point where in the coming weeks we're going to start having a go at teams and play the way that we know that the team can and is capable of.
I think
we're not seeing that forward play, any of that forward play that we saw in the pre-season games against Liverpool or Everton, are we? Where we actually I was excited about the way we were playing. I ended up on Auto Trader and Googling best printers in the second half, which is rather, it tells a story, doesn't it?
Are you looking for a new car, Tim?
No, for my son.
Oh, right. So I'd say you could auction off the Timmobile on here. There'll be some takers. I think with Williams, for me, he's just not the type of player that's going to get you promoted out of this division. He's bang average for me. And I think as soon as Virtue gets fit, he's straight into that team above him. Virtue, box-to-box midfielder, makes things happen and scores goals. Williams, a bit of a leggy donkey, if I'm honest. And I don't think he should be in the starting 11. So hopefully he isn't for the next game.
I think he's what we needed today, though, John. I agree with you. He's not starting week in, week out if you've got your first 11 available. And like I say, the lads who've come in, I think one or two will be ahead of him. But I just think for today, it's what we needed. And he did give us a little bit of protection. But he's not going to be starting every week if you want him to be getting promoted. But he did okay, I thought.
Fair enough. Daz McKenzie, Daz said, stop the rot, dominated the game against the team on a roll. We are going up as effing champions.
I think it's a fair point about a team on a roll, though. They've had a pretty decent start, Crewe, haven't they?
Told you all. What did I say? You all mocked me at the beginning of the season. Told you all.
Yeah, but it's early days, John. They'll be bottom half.
We'll drop off.
But yeah, they have had a good start, and we really did. Without being spectacular ourselves, we did restrict them to pretty much that one chance. Actually,
our guest last night on the preview show actually called the results as well. He went for 1-1. I was the doom and gloom with 2-0 defeat.
I think I said 2-0 as well. I think Dave Jenkins saying I think the benefit of having Williams in the side is it allows Robson to get further forward. Fair point, which you've backed up there, Nick, haven't you? Matt said, need a midfielder to bust a gut and support the front three. Tim, I think that's Matty Virtue, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a great fan of Matty. I think, he always pops up with the odd goal. And he's the link man, isn't he? He's the link man between the defence and the attack. And I think we've really, really missed him at the start of the season. I'm not even sure what's up with him. You keep hearing he's on his way back. I think there was a suggestion that he was potentially available for this weekend, and then no.
What is his injury? Does anyone know? What is it?
I don't actually know what the injury is. I don't think. I'm not sure whether the club said. Presumably they have at some point, but I've not seen it.
I don't think they have. They've been a bit vague. They've just said it's a niggling one that's taking longer than expected. So you don't know. And don't forget we've got Woodburn to come as well, who we've signed. So he'll hopefully bring something as well.
So that could be, as Matt's saying there, need a midfielder to bust a gut and support the front three. That could be the man, your man Woodburn. Started quite a lot of games for Wales. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him. Although didn't do much Oxford, apparently,
doesn't he? With Virtue, and they are niggly, aren't they? If you come back too early, it goes again, and then you're out for double the length of time. So maybe they're just being cautious with him.
I've got that dilemma, Tim, haven't I? Niggled my hamstring.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing whether you can you roll out on Monday or whether you're going to throw a sickie.
I've already paid up front, so I might as well turn up. I might just play as a sweeper.
What you will find is you won't blow out your backside in the same way second week. He was gasping for breath, Nick. Don't laugh too much because we haven't seen you down there yet.
I was going to say, I'm not going to comment until I'll be gasping a lot more.
So I think that's it. Let's just see if there's anything else that's come in. We had that from Matt. More solid building blocks. Hopefully, new lads can provide more spot from midfield to open up defences. John Scott. John says, I think we'll see a difference when Sully and Keshi are fit. Of course, we've got these two guys to come back. Desperate for Yates' goal. I think there'll be more to come. Big injury list. When Sully Kaikai gets back, Woodburn, Virtue, the Viking, the Northern Ireland centre half, the Barnsley Wighead, whatever his name is. We've got a lot of quality to come into this side.
We are. There can't be many teams in the whole league, never mind this division, who've recruited as many as we have in one season. 17 players.
We are the highest. Saw the list yesterday. We're in number one spot.
What's this? The closing comment from Phil. We'll do a bit on Woodburn if you want with some of our Welsh mates. All think really highly of him with a smiley face. Is that good, Phil, or is that bad? Is that a jokey smile, or is that?
I think he's saying they seem to rate. Well, I hope he's saying they rate him anyway.
The concerns I was going to centre on how many games you're going to get out of him. I think he started very, very brightly at Liverpool. He was their youngest ever goal scorer. He actually took Michael Owen's record, but then never really pushed on from there. That's the feedback I've had from my Liverpool sporting mate who's been on the show before. But that happens, doesn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, Liverpool are an exceptional team, and the fact that he doesn't progress into their side isn't necessarily criticism, is it? They've got one of the best teams in the world.
Well, he's played. He's scored for Wales, and he's played a lot of games for Wales. So he's no mug, is he?
He's only just turned 21. Yeah. I think he's got 10 or 11 caps for Wales already.
Yeah,
he's their second youngest goal scorer behind Bale. Obviously, I think he's elected to play for Wales, where he's perhaps got a Welsh.
He's born in the Midlands, isn't he? He's from Nottingham or something.
Yeah, and I'm really, really excited about seeing him play and what he can do for us. Let's just hope that he's going to be the the spark we need to start our push up the league, because it is early days. We're all a bit frustrated with the way that we've started, but it's a long, it's the old adage of it's a marathon, not a sprint, isn't it? So let's make sure we need to start winning though. And off the top of my head, I can't remember who we have for the next sort of 2, 3, 4 games, but I
will tell you, Tim. We've got Charlton away on Tuesday. We've got Charlton away on Tuesday.
We've got Milton. Tough, isn't it?
MK Dons is coming up, isn't it?
Let's bring it up.
Yeah, we've got. I mean, that's a game we've got to be looking to win. The Dons match, isn't it? And the Wimbledon. So we've got 3. Listen, I mean, we spoke before, didn't we, about the teams at near the bottom who we think are going to stay down there. Charlton's going to be tough, but hopefully we can get a couple of these new players in that can give us a bit of a lift. But then those 3 games are all winnable, aren't they? Beyond that, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
without a shadow of a doubt, and that's what we're going to be aiming for. I think Critchley's got to be saying to the team, we need to be coming out of this next 4 games with 9 points. And I think if we do, we're mid-table probably by that stage, and then we can hopefully kick on from there. But we've arrested the decline today. I generally thought we'd lose today, so I'm glad we didn't. It gives a little bit of a platform, and let's hope that the profit, the 9 points out of 12, is something that we can look back on in a month's time and say that we called it.
As
it's not even a month, is it? It's like 2 weeks. Coming that quick, aren't they, the games? Looking at that, that's just between now and the end of the month.
Yeah, as Matt says there's 120 points available, so it's all to play. It's all to play for. Right, we're going to close out now. Just want to close the pod by saying, if you do listen to this on Apple Podcasts, please do leave us a review and a rating. Helps us grow and get exposure on there. Just want to say thanks a lot to all the patrons of the show. 45 and counting. They do help us do more shows like this, and they help us with the production of the quality of the show. So if you want to chip in a few quid, help us out, patreon.com/SeasidersPod. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and all those social media places. Search Seasiders Podcast, find us on there. So thanks for watching this, listeners. Thanks a lot for your comments. Thanks for downloading this, and thanks for listening. All there is beside is up the pool. So up the pool.
Up the pool.
Pod pickers, Johnny. I've just got a quick favour to ask before we kick off, and that's to see if you would consider joining our brand new Patreon supporter program. What the hell's that here, you ask? Right, well, Patreon is a platform which allows you to pledge a small monthly amount, and in exchange you'll receive bonus content and services from us. So head on over to seasiderspodcast.co.uk/support, or just go to the website and you'll see a big orange button that says Patreon. So if you click on that, that'll take you through to the Patreon page where you can find out more details and hopefully sign up for the program. And if you don't, you're one tight get. Seasiders.